If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Value and importance of having school gardens, having gardens at schools for children. And we reached out to an individual who we're good friends with, Mike Ploblaski. Is that how I pronounce it? Podlesny. He's out of New Jersey, and he does a radio podcast program several times a week. And he actually wrote an article indicating the statistics, the numbers on what and how important it is to have school gardens. And now there is several schools in the Milwaukee area that have gardens, and there's schools that are across the country that are now using this as part of their curriculum to teach kids the value of gardening and working together and being stewards of the earth. Earth Day's tomorrow, so that's one of these things that we want to encourage the young people to do. We have a niece and a nephew, and they I think our niece has a school garden, but they have a nice one in their backyard.
Right, and they definitely have learned from us and learned from seeing us work in the garden, and my sister helps with the garden as well. We basically help set it up for them, and they maintain it throughout the season.
But they understand.
Yeah, when it was nice out earlier in March, one of those days, our nephew was out in the ground digging in the dirt, saying that he's kind of mimicking Joey. He said that the rocks were seeds, and then he was pretending to make a video with his little play camera.
So and a lot of kids do not know where corn comes from, or soy, or beans,
they just think it comes
bread
from a grocery store.
Right. So we've got some numbers here, and these are courtesy of NPR.org, elementaryLawnCare.com, Bridge the Gap, Reach.org, and we're going to go over some of these numbers that are somewhat interesting when it comes to the benefit that gardens can have on children.
Right. So school gardens show a 12 to 15% increase of students passing standardized tests. So that's one. And then
94% of teachers report seeing an increase in engagement of their students. Well, let's just stop right there. Whenever children or anybody grows something, and we've seen this, the body releases an endorphin in the brain that has makes you feel good, and that excitement of harvesting or planting or seeing that plant grow. So that is a benefit. I mean, a lot of times kids go to school, they sit in front of a computer, or most of these things are computers now. When I went to school, you had pencil and paper, and if you're listening young, ask your parents what pencil and paper are. And that was it. It's repetitive. Whenever you can engage in the soil, and there's studies shown that when you get involved in the soil, that is helps your mind work better, and it's better for your health.
Right. It's a different
natural
activity. Yeah.
Right.
It's a natural mood booster, is
right.
what it is. And there's been studies showing that's been proven. So 55% of Americans believe that gardening should be part of a school curriculum.
I don't think 55% of Americans garden. That's the other thing.
But that's okay. Like,
right.
They think that children should learn that.
Right.
Yeah. They want the children to garden for them.
73% of students who work in school gardens report an increase in their activity and produce. What is that, Holly?
Their consumption of produce.
Yeah. So we've known this for a long time. Kids who grow food eat that food that they grow. That's just kind of the mindset. They see it grown, they see where it comes from, and they want to interact with it. So that's another thing. 26.6% of U.S. public elementary schools that have a garden program. That they have a school program. 26.6% of elementary schools have a school program.
So that's increased 11.4% since 2006 to 2007.
Yeah. So there are schools that are picking this up, and we do see a tremendous amount of benefit, not only to the health of the children, but also to.
This is
yes. Go ahead.
This is a good one here. This is something that we should definitely talk about, is because 58% of educators say the reason their school does not have a school garden is due to lack of funding, and that's probably a huge reason why a lot of schools don't have those gardens.
Right. And we're not, on a school board, and we don't understand, there's a lot of, obviously, we're going to be real about it, there's a lot of politics that go into people who run schools. We get that. But also, when you see the numbers here, and these are not just made-up numbers, these are actual numbers that have been proven to be true. We do kids do fundraisers, and they sell candy, and they sell wrapping paper to all this stuff. To raise money for a school garden, I think, would be more of a, hey, would you like to help support my school garden or start a school garden? I think more people would be receptive to that than buying more wrapping paper or candy that's sometimes, let's be honest, a little overpriced.
And I think that if they're trying to fund a school garden through, I don't know, a bake sale or whatever, they could include some of these statistics, like this one where it says 60% of educators at schools with gardens say their students show a greater interest in eating healthier. And that's good because they're growing the food, they know where the food comes from, and they know that they've worked to grow those vegetables. And
91% of these schools in which have a garden, it's geared towards the pre-K and up through about the 5th grade. And that's really your developmental stage of that. And then once you get, 5th grade, then they can kind of take over, go home and say, hey, where can we have a garden? That type of thing. They understand the fundamentals of it. We had guest on last year, Carrie of the Seed Keeper Company. Carol, yes, yeah. The Seed Keeper Company, they go around and they fund, they support school gardens, and they donate some of their products to help school gardens develop and grow and store their seeds. And they told us a little story about a correctional facility, I believe it was in Idaho. Well, I want you to share the story, Carrie, of the correctional facility, the school. If you can share that story about the kids that just were amazed by the school gardens, if you would.
Right. The Southwest Idaho Juvenile Detention Center probably is not a real happy place when kids are getting there, I'd be scared if I were going to juvenile detention. Well, there's a marvelous warden, as they would call him, I guess. Really, he's like the school principal. And he said, we need to start a garden here. We need to give these kids some hope. And so they started this marvelous garden, and after the first year, they donated over 1,000 pounds of produce to the local homeless shelter. And those kids felt great, and we just thought that was such a marvelous story, In a place that might be bleak, you learn something, and you walk away from that having, maybe you get in touch with yourself, you get in touch with other people, you learn that you can do things, that you can have a positive impact on society, and we just think it's a very, very cool thing, and our hats go off to them. And the funny thing is we awarded them. They were one of our first years, and we got a letter back from the principal, let's call him that, and he was just so excited that we recognized their garden, and we went, you know what, we're the winners here. When people teach children how to garden, they carry it on, and they may not do it forever, but they understand it and the impact that food and plants have on our society.
So that you can see, even if it's not a school, it's a correctional facility, the positive impact, giving, people in life want to see a reward for what they do, and we see a reward when we grow a garden. Even though it benefits us, we're not selling the produce, we're not donating anywhere, we get that endorphin high, we get that reward going, hey, we've accomplished something. We just didn't sit in front of a TV and play a video game for 12 hours. Now, sometimes in life it's okay to do that, but when it comes to all the food production of it. And
another statistic, 84% of teachers consider that school garden programs help students learn better. So what comes out of this is that not only do the kids benefit, but so do the educators as well. And that seems to be the positive, is that it's not just benefiting the kids, it's benefiting the teachers. And it ranges from eating better class participation, positive side effects, incorporate garden studies, and then they can incorporate into existing programs such as nutrition, health, and science.
Tying it all together.
So I feel that it should be taught in schools. I think that would be definitely great. We've gone to a few different schools and talked about gardening. It's something that we do enjoy doing. It's not always possible, but it's something that I think that should be considered.
So we wanted to bring up these stats to just show that there is positive reinforcement or numbers that back up if schools do have gardens. And I understand that there is the money factor, the where are we going to put it, the who's going to take care of it type of thing, because the majority of schools are out of session during the growing season or most of the growing season. So we want to thank Mike
Pedlesny
from New Jersey, who wrote this article, shared it with us so we could share it with you.
Thank you for checking out the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. For more, go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com for full-length in-studio video and podcast replay of Season 1. Season 2 underway and added weekly. Tweet us at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG to be part of the program.